I never expected to be a COVID bride. not that not that you can ever really plan for a pandemic. I mean, no one ever really expected to be in COVID, but here we are. this has been this has been everything that I did not expect as far as my engagement is concerned. I had this total idea of what an engagement process would look like and how it would be and how amazing it was going to be and how great it was going to be and how much fun we were going to have. I had this whole just thing lined up. And then COVID happened and it was like, bam, reality hit me. Total reality hit me. And that's not to say, it's not to say that things have been all bad. I mean, it's certainly been a struggle for sure. I think there's been so many different ideas that I've had to really, really just look at for what they are and say, is this helping me or is this hurting me? And that's actually what I want to talk about. Because, as women, many of us, whether or not we know it, we're all told this story. We are all told, this is what you deserve on your perfect day. This is how it's supposed to be. Don't settle. Go for your best. Yada yada yada. Like I think it's normal to think that as a woman that's going to be married or it's supposed to be getting married, that you're supposed to have your big day. You're supposed to have your special day, and it's supposed to be like this. And of course, we have plenty of shows and plenty of movies dedicated to this specific idea. And so without me knowing it, I came in with this expectation, with this unspoken expectation that I did not even know existed. And it said, okay, when I get engaged, this is going to be my time. This is going to be my season of just things just going right, things just going well. It's just being an amazingly fun, blessed season, however you want to put it. I had already convinced myself, even before I met my fiance, even before I was even in a relationship, somewhere in my mind, somewhere as a younger woman, I convinced myself that, okay, my engagement process and my wedding is just going to be, man, fire. It's just, bam, that's going to be my time. That's my season. It's me, 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 me. And the thing about it is, I didn't even know I had came to that conclusion, but I certainly had. And so, of course, it wasn't until, I get engaged and I'm like, yes, now is my season. So I get engaged. My fiance does an amazing job, and we pick a date, say, okay, we're going to get married in this date. Then I lose my job. And I'm like, wait, okay, so this wasn't really a part of my conception of how my engagement's supposed to be. And literally, him and I just sat down and we said, okay, here's our financial plan. Here's how much money we're going to try to save, yada, yada, yada. No sooner do we do that, I lose my job. And I'm like, crap, this is not how I pictured my engagement, but whatever. Not a big deal. I couldn't find another job, work through it, right? Then the pandemic happened, not too long after that. And it's like, okay, well, no big deal. We can, still get married. It's just a few months out. And then, of course, we come up closer to the date, and then it gets canceled, right? And so we reschedule. And then we come to that date again, it's canceled, right? And then you have, obviously, family drama. I don't even want to go into detail because that's just a whole other stuff. That's a whole other thing. But there's just, there's a series of a lot of different events that happened. Then the guest list starts to cut, and the people that you think are going to be there, then they don't want to be there anymore, and then people that you're expecting to be friends or expecting to be there with you just kind of disappear, and you're like, at least for me, I'm like, wait, this is not what I was told. This is not what I was expected. What's going on? My little fantasy world is shattering. And, talking about it, it's kind of silly and it's actually kind of embarrassing, but it needs to be said because I literally thought that somehow I was going to get engaged and then the world was just going to just like bend in my favor. I don't even know where I got this idea, but again, it existed. And I don't even think it was a conscious idea. I'm pretty sure it was like some subconscious thing that again, I was not aware of until the world certainly did not go in my favor. And all the things I wanted to do did not do. And it started to seem as if every single door I was trying to go through closed. And what I didn't mention is obviously the venues I worked with, and people start lying, and then they don't want to give us money back, and then you have to get legal people involved, and it just becomes a big heaping mess. And I'm like, what is going on? What is going on? But here's the bigger issue. I think the bigger issue is, at a certain point I had to ask myself, okay, what is this even really about? Is this really about me having my perfect day? About me having things exactly how I want them? Or is it about me ending up with the man that I love? Is this about me starting a life with this person that I love, that is amazing? What is this really about? Is this about me having an event that I can show off on Instagram or YouTube, or have the oohs and the ahs and brag to my friends and brag to the people around me and say, oh, I've made it? Or is it about me starting a relationship with a guy? Is it about me building a family? Is it about me wanting to prepare things for a future generation? Like, what is this truly about? And it's really sad to say that my intentions, I don't think, were always as pure as I thought they were. And no one could have convinced me otherwise until things just didn't really go my way. And then I had to face some of the issues within. And then, on top of that, and then, my skin starts breaking out, and I'm not a person that really struggles with acne. I have never really had acne. God's always blessed me with just amazing skin, I guess. And then all of a sudden my skin is just like horrible. I feel like it's horrible. I'm getting zits all of a sudden. What's going on? My life is ending. I mean, these are all little small, silly things, but when I think of them individually. But my biggest issue, again, is that somehow I just had bought into this idea. And I'm like, this is a fantasy. And so now even, when I talk to some men or listen to some men, and they're just like, I don't even want to marry, because women sometimes are just caught up in this fairy tale land. I'm not even really mad at them, because some of us are, just because we've been fed this stuff. We really have. And I think now, looking back, on some of this, and recognizing, okay, what's going on, and recognizing some of the beliefs that I have and some of the expectations, now I'm in this place and I'm just like, that stuff wasn't benefiting me. It wasn't helping me at all. It was holding me back. It's making me upset. It's making me depressed. And the biggest issue was that it had nothing to do with preparing me to be a wife. Nothing. Me having the biggest wedding out there with as many people as possible, with the best food, with the best cook, that has nothing to do with me starting off with a good and healthy marriage. Nothing. It has nothing to do with it. And this need sometimes to want to project like, oh, I've made it, or this or this or that. Because I think there was some of that, if I'm just being honest. I think there was some of that internally that I wanted to show like, okay, I've made it. I've done these things. You know what I mean? I've waited, and it wasn't in vain. I think there was a little bit of that mixed in. That's not to say I don't love this man. I think he's amazing. He's just an amazing guy, just genuine, pure-hearted. But I feel like at myself in the mirror. Can I say that this event was totally about him, or was I sucked into this idea of this is how it's supposed to be? And I sadly, I think I was guilty of the former. And in some ways, I think I'm grateful. Not that, I mean, the process was kind of sucky. But I think in some ways I'm grateful that I was able to identify some of these issues and some of these false ideas, because, I don't want to bring a certain mentality into a marriage. I don't want to just bring any false ideas or false notions. I don't want to do that, because that causes a lot of challenges. I think that leads to a lot of different things breaking up, and we have a lot of different broken marriages, and I don't want to be another statistic. And so while I can't say that I know everything, I certainly don't. And I also can't say, oh, now I have the keys to success just because I experienced some of these challenges. No, that's not it at all. But what I do recognize is that there's so much pressure put on brides, to have a wedding a certain way, or for it to have to be this or to have to be that. And at the end of the day, it doesn't even really matter. It doesn't even really matter. I mean, I don't even think it. I don't. There's really no value that it holds in actually preparing a woman for marriage. And while, hey, I like a good party. I'm not gonna lie. I love celebrating birthday parties and baby showers and events. I love that. So I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm anti-party. But I guess I wish there was just a lot more of an emphasis on what does it mean for us as women? What does it mean for us to prepare for marriage? What's the most important qualities? What should we be focusing on the months leading up to that? Should we be stressing about the right colors? Should we be stressing about the perfect dress? Should we be stressing about finding the right photographer, the videographer? All things that I've been guilty of. Should we be doing that? Or should we be really focusing on how do I improve my relationship with my significant other? How do I grow in intimacy with this person as we are progressing? How do we align our values? Should that be the focus? What does it mean to be a wife? What does it mean to be a wife in today's modern context when a lot of things are blurred? What does it mean? How do I get along with this person? How do I meet that person's needs and they meet my needs? What does that mean? Shouldn't that be the focus? And I'm sad to say that for me, for a long time, it was not. And I think that led to a lot of heartache, and that led to a lot of disappointment. And like I said, I'm grateful. I'm kind of grateful that certain things didn't go out the way that they did, because it would be a disservice to me, and it would be a disservice to the man I love if I walked down the aisle and it was about a show. It wasn't truly about him and I coming together. That'd be bad. So I'd much rather things not go the way they need to go, so that I can face some of my own demons within, or face some of my own just false toxic notions and deal with that. So I'm not bringing that junk into a relationship, because we bring those ideas into a relationship and they can create a whole lot of chaos. And so, I guess I would say, if anyone is, they're going to be married, or they find themselves in an engagement process, don't do what I did, and don't put this expectation on you that it has to be perfect or near perfect. Because if life happens, or when life happens and things don't go according to plan, sometimes that could be a good thing. And I think sometimes those moments can tell you, like, hey, you're probably focusing on the wrong thing to begin with. Because at the end of the day, when the celebration is over, when all the money is spent and all the people that came left, and the people that you saw that you may never talk to again left, what's left is a relationship that you have with the man that you married. And that is worth so much more time and effort and focus than all of these other little things that can create unnecessary tension, unnecessary stress, and unnecessary drama. And so, if you're engaged, focus on the relationship, please. I'm not saying you can't have a wedding. You can have a wedding, have a celebration if you can. But if you can't, or if things don't go the way that you thought or you planned, it doesn't make it any less valid. What makes it truly valid is your connection with the man that you love. And although we as women are not told that, we are told that this is about us, this is about our dress and our perfect day and our big day. The reality is, it's about you coming together with the man that you love and making that your focus, and making sure that you are prepared for that relationship, that you have everything that you need for that relationship, and that you guys are on the same page and understanding what this is actually going to mean. So those are just a few of my thoughts around the matter, but what do you think? Engagement process, what should be the focus? Should it be you getting everything you want? If you're a woman, you have your perfect day, you have your perfect wedding, you waited all this time, and you deserve it. You deserve your princess fairy tale day. Or do you think all that stuff is just a distraction and that it's really just about you ending up with the man you love? Let me know. Leave your questions, comments, concerns in the comment section below. Thank you so much for listening. If you've gotten this far, please like, subscribe to my channel. Feel free to support me on CASHAPP. You can find me at ChezCharde. And thank you for listening. We'll talk soon.